Hello, hello, hello. You'll never see it coming. It's SummerSlam weekend, and you boys from Wrestling with Egos are here. The Lean Mean Wrestle Talking Machine is here. That's my dude Patrick over there in camera one. It's your boy Brian over here in camera two. RJ couldn't be with us tonight. He will be along soon, but we are going to dive right into it. It's SummerSlam weekend. There's a lot to talk about because a lot of things are going on in the world of WWE. I'm going to throw it over to you really quick, Patrick. Good sir, how you feeling?
I'm doing great, man. Life is good. It's SummerSlam weekend. Well, I've always had a love for SummerSlam because something goofy as crap always happens at SummerSlam.
It is the biggest party of the summer.
Well, not just that, but you know, Royal Rumbles always when something really cool happens. There's always a really cool moment at Royal Rumble. WrestleMania happens and there's always that WrestleMania moment. SummerSlam happens and there's always a freaking heel turn. There's always a swerve at SummerSlam. And
I have a feeling there will be some swerves in the offing.
I
don't know enough to know what those are, but I'm sure I will be shocked when I watch.
I smell one coming. Sorry, Vince. You tell me you'll never see it coming, homeboy. I've been on to you for years. There's not very many times you put one past me. So hit me with your best shot, big boy.
Wonderful. Okay, I know where you're going with this in the future. We're not going to start referencing all these 80s songs because I know you've got a couple in mind that you want to reference tonight. We can't sit here and just start referencing the I Love the 80s playlist. I'm not going to let you do that.
It's an 80s song tonight?
You might.
I would never do that. I would never purposely terribly sing on this show.
But you might make an exception tonight.
Maybe. Real quick before we get into that, quick announcement. Very important announcement concerning Wrestling with Egos, whether RJ makes it back with us next week or not, concerning the future of this show. We've gotten a lot of questions about it and a lot of concerns. And I wanted to address something that we're going to start doing with Wrestling with Egos starting next week. Next week, I will not be filming my part of the show from the comfort of my living room and my couch. I will be back in my dining room, and next week will mark the return of the green screen.
I have one follow-up question for you.
Shoot.
You're bringing back this green screen. Is that wise?
Why not?
I only ask because every time you use the green screen, it tends to attack it. When you use the green screen, it tends to attack you.
And it was funny.
It was funny, but I wonder if you've thought this through and, nailed down all the particulars and ins and outs of it.
Haven't really thought it through. You know what? If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And if it happens, it'll just be damn good TV.
You love throwing caution to the wind, don't you? Great. Well, while Patrick continues to get attacked by man-eating green screens.
Real quick, I'm now about to reference a 70s song. Just like Molly Hatchet likes to do, I'm flirting with disaster. You're welcome.
Okay, we're really close to blowing the whole week's budget on, royalties for songs and stuff like that. So
any of these songs in post-production, bro, we're good.
Okay, that's fine. What I want to do first when we start off the show today is I want to dive headlong into that Wrestling with Egos mailbag. Yes, boys and girls, we do have a Wrestling with Egos mailbag. And we want to thank all of the people who email the show at wrestlingwithegos@gmail.com or shout out at us on Twitter. The Twitter handles are showing at the bottom of the screen.
Or leave a comment under this video.
Which you can do also, and has happened in the past. We appreciate all your feedback. We want to give a special shout out to our friend Big Isaac, hashtag friend of show. He sent us a lot of
OGFOS.
Yes, OG friend of show. He sent us quite a few questions, but since we have a lot of other things to get to tonight, I picked the most pertinent one because I feel like we can accomplish a lot with this one question. So thank you, big homie Isaac. His question is, do you think WWE has Bayley and Sasha holding all of the gold instead of using this opportunity with certain superstars not being around to elevate new talent? Which is a great question. It's a multifaceted question.
Very. All right. So may I go first?
Yes, you may.
All right.
Because I have some theories too.
So I'm going to pretend that I am back in your home for a big, wrestling gathering like we should be having tomorrow night for SummerSlam, which we are not, and that sucks. Because I literally haven't been to one all year long because I was not able to make the Rumble. Thank God, because they would have all seen me cry when Edge came out. Anyway, moving right along. The way it usually works over at Brian's house is I'm on the couch. Usually Mrs. Rant Mode On is on either side. And there is a nice folding table that Brian and the Lovebird have. And it is diagonal here. And over there sits Big Isaac, closest to me, closest to the couch. And on the other side is our friend Frank. If Isaac were to ask this question in your living room, big homie, heel 401. Why not have Bayley and Sasha holding everything? Because, let's be honest, fans, while they enjoy watching Asuka in the ring, the fact that Asuka just nonsensically screams in Japanese because she doesn't know English, and it sounds like crazy. Let's be honest, this might be a little crass in doing it, but to the average fan, might sound a little like crazy talk. Okay. So as far as a character outside of the ring, a lot of people don't buy Asuka. I personally don't care. I want to see what she does inside of a 20 by 20 ring, and that's all that matters, because inside that ring, that lady is gold. Who else besides Asuka is around? Charlotte's out because of injury. Becky's out because she better be baby mama. Shayna Baszler is doing more Raw Underground because they're bringing in people like Marina Shafir and Jessamine Duke into Raw Underground. Hashtag horsewomen. Here it comes. Better late than never. The only way you're going to elevate a face is to have a heel. It goes back even to the biblical times. David isn't David unless Goliath is Goliath. Rocky isn't Rocky unless Apollo Creed is a bad sumbitch. There's a million references you can make. And I always stand by this, and this is why I've honestly felt, since I really figured out wrestling, that heels are the most important thing in the company. Faces get all the money, all the applause, they sell all the merch, all this other crap, but your heels are your most important commodity. Why? Because your heels are supposed to be here so your face can get here.
And the heels also push the storyline forward too in most cases.
Exactly. Hulk Hogan wouldn't have been as awesome as he was unless he beat the Iron Sheik for his first WWF title. You have to have that escalation, is the word of the day, boys and girls. Escalation. And you're not going to get that if you just have a dominant face that just runs roughshod over all the bad guys. if you've ever watched a Western, John Wayne isn't John Wayne because it's just like, well, I'm John Wayne and I'm the law and order and you need to run. No, the guys in the black hats run roughshod over everything, and then John Wayne comes in and cleans up. We reference damn Tombstone on this show more times than I want to count. And guess what? Wyatt Earp ain't Wyatt Earp without the Cowboys being the Cowboys. If Wyatt Earp comes in before the Cowboys ain't got a chance in hell because Wyatt Earp already runs Tombstone.
Right.
So that is why. Forget any other reason. And Brian, I'm sure you've got reasons, but to me, that is reason number 1, 2, and 3. Heel 401.
And when I saw this question, I did not go as deep, surprise, as you did with it, because I just kind of looked at the fact that, it's like I referenced a little bit on Golfing with Egos last week, that a lot of these companies are just they're using this, they're like working in the lab, so to speak, as Kofi's fond of saying, like, you need to be in the lab like I'm in the lab, trying a lot of things, experimenting with a lot of things. And this might be a good time, to look around at who you have, a lot like AEW is doing with their women's division. You look around at who you have, and if who you have happens to be Brandy and whomever, you push them. It might be a time to try some other talent. And look what they're doing with Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose. They're getting to tell a long story arc that's going to culminate tomorrow night in a loser leaves WWE match. It was originally going to be a hair versus hair match. The stipulation got changed on SmackDown Friday night after promo for Mandy Rose and an actually pretty impassioned promo from Sonya Deville, given all of the personal tribulation Sonya's been going through, which pretty severe.
I got a question about that, and we're not going to really touch on it. And I'm sorry, my arm's like this. I have a mosquito biting it itches like crazy. So we're not going to touch on the personal bullshit that Sonya Deville has had to deal with over the last 7 days. The poor woman has had some horse shit to deal with. I hate it for her. In case you're not aware, somebody tried to break into her house with the intention of kidnapping her.
Completely heinous.
I'm not making this up. Like I said, horse shit. It sucks. For me, when they made that announcement that it was now loser leaves WWE, that's the first place my head went. Is this to get Sonya out of WWE, either A, permanently because she's freaking out, or B, temporarily so she can kind of recenter? Or is that's the first place my head went was that. Like, okay, because hair versus hair match, they're not going to shave Mandy's head.
Right. And when it comes right down to it, to kind of put a bow on Isaac's question, I think what it comes down to is you're a head writer on SmackDown or Raw. You look around and you say, who do I trust to tell this story? And yes, we might want to advance some new stars, but if you don't have the trust level that you obviously have in Bayley and Sasha Banks, Bayley's been a 300-plus day champion now, and mad props to her. And Sasha's been a multi-time champion. And really, subtly, you're starting to see some splinters in the armor because of the beat the clock match that Naomi had with the challenges that Naomi had with him. Bayley actually got pinned by Naomi, which means Sasha Banks gets to wrestle Asuka second tomorrow night. So maybe it's a trust factor. That's the best I got is you look around and who do I trust to tell the stories that I want to tell?
Right. You can't talk about reliability. When we talk about the GOAT conversations, we use it when we talk about that criteria. Your best ability is your availability. In this particular case, your best ability is your reliability.
True.
And Charlotte has had injuries. Yes, Sasha's had injuries too. Bayley is not the best wrestler out of the 4 horsewomen of NXT. But you know what? She's reliable.
Right.
You know, it's kind of like Randy Orton. Randy Orton is not the most exciting wrestler in the entire world, but you know what? One, the man is safe. Number two, the man is reliable. Three, the man is always there.
Yeah.
There's a reason we will not be having a Randy Orton GOAT discussion. Why? Duh.
Yeah.
Yes, he belongs in that conversation as one of the greatest because he has always produced.
So I know you're itching to do something because last night WWE tossed their hat into the ring of interactive fan experiences, and mad props to them.
Oh yeah,
because they're doing what the NBA is doing. They're doing what a lot of recording artists are doing. The Lovebirds' favorite, Tim McGraw, is doing something similar to this, where you get an interactive fan experience for a concert. WWE is now taken up residency, a lot like Celine Dion does in Las Vegas, but
yeah.
WWE has taken up residency at the Amway Center in Orlando, home of the NBA's Magic, for the foreseeable future. They're going to be doing all their live events and their pay-per-views from that. And they have an interactive, immersive fan experience that they are calling Thunderdome.
Pause. Because I'm sorry, don't get me wrong, it's cool. I am nowhere near about to bash Thunderdome. I like it. However, in a couple of weeks, I'm going to be 42 years old. I'm old enough to remember cheesy ass action movies from the 80s, like all of Arnold's movies, Get to the Chopper, and all that stuff. I also remember the original Mad Max movies. I hear the name Thunderdome, and the first thing I think is Tina Turner going, "We don't need another hero."
Do you need to sing the whole song, or are you just going to regale us with a couple of verses, or what are you going to do?
Honestly, I'm surprised I actually got that high. I was planning on doing it in a little bit of a different key.
You
Yes,
must
guys,
have been keyed up. You know, we're live, pal.
I
So
know, but I went up and I was like, "Oh shit, I hit it."
we're committed.
So I'm a baritone. I kind of sort of nailed it. I don't think it was god awful. But
Welcome
as
to
soon as
Music
I was,
Theory with Wrestling with Egos. Patrick will be your professor this week.
yeah, theory, yeah. I could probably teach music theory, to be honest. It's better than Austin theory.
The one problem, and it's not really a problem because you can't control what people do really when they're in it. I did see all of the stipulations where if you wanted to be a part of it,
Right.
you know, here's what you had to adhere to, here's what you can and cannot do, and that sort of thing. But when I flipped it on the other night and I was watching it, first of all, the set looks amazing.
It's
You know,
baller.
the graphics
Hey,
out of control.
Can I interject real quick?
Of course.
I'm emphasizing your point, dude. I did not watch the preview that they had online on what Wednesday or Thursday or whenever that was. My first look at Thunderdome was as SmackDown started last night. And Vince is out there in the ring, and literally the very first entrance that we see in the Thunderdome was the Fiend. Holy crap!
Yeah, I didn't see it right from the beginning either. I turned it on after Lovebird and I were watching a movie, and I flipped it on after the movie was over.
Was it Mad
So I
Max?
saw
Was it Mad
Cesaro.
Max Dome?
No, it was the Born Supremacy. I saw Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro come out, and that was pretty sweet too.
Oh, theirs was, yeah. But I saw that and I was like, yeah, this is gangster. this, I'm like,
Yeah.
this. If we're gonna do this, let's just start with the single baddest entrance we've got in WWE right now. And here you go.
My one criticism and this is not anything the WWE can control. It's a little bit of a, hey, wake up to the fans. I'm assuming that this wasn't just a free thing that you could participate in. I'm sure there was some kind of a monetary thing you had to do to be able to participate in this.
I would assume you had to be.
I know if I had plunked down some hard-earned dinero to participate in this immersive fan experience, that I would actually be reacting to what I was seeing.
Yes.
There was an awful lot of people when I was paying attention to the screens and not the action in the ring, because there were a few times where I was like trying to take it all in. These people are just like, and I'm like, you're one of the first people to actually do this. Can you at least react to what you're seeing? Can you give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down or a boo or a...
I thought the same thing. Here's what I'm thinking. The best way I can think about things like this is to put myself in someone else's shoes. If I'm one of those people, I'm behaving as if I just paid for a ticket.
Right.
Because here's the thing, that video wall that you saw was only on the hard camera side. It wasn't everywhere. So and it was stacked. So literally it's, if I'm one of those people, you're going to see me
Right.
for 2 or 3 hours, depending on what show you're watching. I am going to make sure that I look like I'm having fun and I'm enjoying it. Why? Number one, because I don't want to be one of those people like jackasses like us rip apart because they fell asleep at their computer, or they decided to be a mark and go, hey, I'm wearing an AEW shirt.
Yeah, right.
Or crap like that. So I don't want to look like a complete doofus. Number two, if I'm looking like I'm having a good time, if I'm looking like I'm trying to be immersed in WWE product, you know what that might happen? You know what that might mean? They might ask me to come back. They might ask me, hey, Patrick, we're still doing Thunderdome next year's WrestleMania. Patrick, WrestleMania by invitation only. How about you, hard camera, middle of it, bottom row, and we'll put you next to Izzy. Sweet!
And white tux guy.
Yeah! Dude! White tux guy was my MVP. I was like, dude, thank you for...
Despite what you might think about the product, despite what you might think about how they're booking Shinsuke Nakamura or how they're booking Daniel Bryan or how they're booking whomever, you obviously had to make a decision, a conscious decision to want to be involved with this. If that's me, I'm reacting to things. I'm going like this when something happens that I don't like. I'm fist pumping when something happens that I do like.
Right. Why waste that time just to shit on the product?
Yeah.
I mean, as Michael Caine said in The Dark Knight, some men just want to watch the world burn.
Clearly.
And I was watching just like, oh, come on. And, have fun. We're in a time in our society where nothing is fun because it's COVID and I don't want to wear a mask. And if you live in America, it's getting close to election time. And if you're like me, if I see one more ad for either one of them already, I'm going to bash my head into a wall. I know who I'm for. I have my own political beliefs, and I do not, and they do not cross over into anything else. I hate politics.
I like the concept. I applaud WWE for wanting to, because I think you could see them feeling like the Performance Center was already getting a little stale.
Oh, and it was.
Which, yes, it's true, because you can only have them bust up so many windows in the Performance Center and stuff like that before, So I give them credit for wanting to do something new and fresh and wanting to get the fan interaction back again. Because in every interview I've read that any buddy's given, Triple H has said this over and over again. Bray Wyatt gave an interview to ESPN late this week where he said how much he misses the fan interaction. Adam Cole has said it.
Oh yeah.
Kofi said it. Daniel Bryan has said it. On and on and on the line. How they miss the reaction from the live crowd. And all people in sport are going through this right now, where it'd be, you can't tell me that the fans don't matter.
All right.
For sport,
Games are so weird to watch right now.
Very.
Did you see the highlight last night in Oakland where out along the baselines they have big gigantic teddy bears in the stands, and somebody lined one down the third base line and it went foul and bam. I was like,
and the next night they had a bandage wrapped around its head.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, that was pretty hilarious. So this seems like a good opportunity.
I'm drinking a Kool-Aid Capri Sun.
My goodness gracious.
It's Purplesaurus Rex at me.
This seems like a good opportunity to segue to what we think are going to be the most important parts of the SummerSlam card. We've already talked a little bit about what the women are doing. Very excited to see how that plays out, because what we've got is a multi-layered, multifaceted story where you wonder, hey, can Asuka get the job done, and to what extent? And then what are they going to do with Sonya and Mandy? Because they've done a really good job of just telling their story over the course of several months.
Oh, very much so.
But there's a few matches that
phenomenal job of that, by the way.
Yes. There's a few matches that are also on the card that we want to give a little run to tonight. We're not going to go through the whole card because we want to get to the meat of our show in a little bit. But the first one I want to touch on is the street fight between Seth Rollins and Dominic Mysterio. I want to give Dominic Mysterio some major league props for the indoctrination that he got. I mean, the pictures I saw of the welts all over the place on his front and back.
Things that make you go,
Ooh.
Yeah.
It's a big spot to be put in, obviously. And if he didn't have at least some kind of acumen and ability, they wouldn't be putting him in this spot.
I would hope to God not. At the same time, he's also got some really big shoes to fill.
Yes, he does.
Dad is one of the two greatest masked men of all time. The other one being Jushin Thunder Liger. As far as this generation is concerned, and maybe even the last generation, he's the greatest luchador.
Right.
He may go down as the greatest luchador of all time. I mean, holy crap. His father, Rey Mysterio Jr., is a legend. The only thing I don't like is the fact that he's going by the name Dominic Mysterio. I don't like that. I'm like, that's like Team PCB. We can't come up with anything else.
I think what you're going to see, and I'd like to think that, I hope it was just the two of them sat down, Seth and Dominic. I'm sure Ray's been involved, because why wouldn't he be involved? But I hope the two of them sat down, and I hope Seth told Dominic, I'm going to keep you safe as it can be in a street fight sort of thing. But no, what I'm saying is
keeping somebody safe.
But that's what I think needs to happen here. I mean, yes, take risks, but make them calculated risks. I know that Seth doesn't have the greatest history of keeping people safe. Look at Sting, look at Finn Balor, look at, all of these people.
Ask Finn Balor's shoulder, ask Sting's neck, ask John Cena's nose.
I know that, but I think if ever there was a case where that conversation needed to happen, it's here, because you got a guy who's greener than the grass outside against somebody who's recognized by a lot of people as one of the best wrestlers around in terms of the acrobatics, in terms of the skill set, in terms of the arsenal, in terms of all of it. So in theory, Seth should be able to keep Dominic safe. Does Dominic win? I don't know. I'm not ready to make that prediction yet, but I like to see a knockdown drag out, yes, but I like to see it done within the confines of, working safely and working smartly.
Yeah, I agree with you. I am looking forward to seeing it. I'm curious to see what Dominic brings to the table, because his entire life has been influenced by some of the greatest luchadors of all time, and these are all luchadors that at his young age he's all bigger than.
Yeah, that's what I'm interested to see is how much aerial offense is there, or is he more of a ground-based guy?
I mean, you have to, just I don't know how much they're going to bill him at as far as his weight. Clearly, he's bigger than his father.
Yes.
He's bigger than Eddie, his other father.
He might be closer to Seth if you think about it, because what's Seth, like 220?
They bill him like 215, something like that.
He might weigh around what Seth weighs, come to think of it. He's stockier, obviously, but
I was getting some glare off the TV, so on my glasses, so
I think it's going to be oddly compelling. I mean, I want it to go over well because of all the work they've put into it.
I do too. I do not. This is the one match that I truly hope does not turn into a turd, because this would be absolutely just crushing to a lot of different things. This could be crushing to Seth's push. This will obviously be crushing to Dominic. Dominic's got to nail this one out of the park. He has the most pressure on him of anybody making their debut since The Rock.
Right.
I mean, good Lord. He's got a lot to live up to. He's third generation. And yeah. So I'm looking forward to that one. You know what else I'm looking forward to?
Do tell.
The other match that has a new stipulation as of last night, Braun Strowman and The Fiend for the Universal title, Falls Count Anywhere.
For those that didn't see it, I'm actually glad to say that I actually saw this as it happened. I haven't been able to say that a lot lately. We won't get into that, but near the end of the night, or at the end of the night, we're doing a Firefly Funhouse. Braun Strowman infiltrates it somehow and does the "I'm not finished with you yet" and all that stuff, and they start fighting backstage. Braun Strowman chokeslams Bray Wyatt off of a loading dock. Good, probably 6-foot drop down to the thing and all that kind of stuff. And this was done brilliantly. Get the ambulance down here, and they load Wyatt into the back of the ambulance on the gurney. And as it gets to the garage door doesn't open. That would take the ambulance to the emergency room. It starts backing up, and all the medical teams are like, "Why aren't you leaving? You gotta go that way." And then they hard camera zoom in on the back of the ambulance, and you see a red light inside and smoke coming out of the ambulance, and out comes the Fiend. And I was like, oh my God. And then the news broke early this morning that the stipulation is now Falls Count Anywhere between Braun Strowman and the Fiend.
Hang on. What? Yeah. Sorry, the squish is crashing down here tonight because she's just fallen in love with sleeping on the couch. Okay. And also, her room does get a little hot during the summer, so she needed another pillow.
Oh, there you go. Yep. Here's my question about this match. What role, if any, does Alexa play in this match, and am I overthinking Alexa's involvement in this match?
I'll answer your second question first. No.
Okay.
You are not overthinking it. They're not going to have Braun do what he did to Alexa.
Yeah.
Something happening. No way, no chance, no how. Nothing is. That was deliberate.
And it almost looks like Strowman's being positioned as the heel here. Because of because of the things he said to Alexa and the way he's distanced himself from her, and then the way he's attacked her, essentially. We'll call it what it is, which I think is weird.
Very
but
weird.
You can see them doing a tweak to the character because it's not resonating the way it was at the beginning when he first won the championship, which is fine. You got to modulate these things as time goes on. But I mean, we go back to, I think it was like 3 or 4 weeks ago when the Fiend caught Alexa in the ring and how unsettling that was with the mandible claw
Right.
and the hurt glove and all that kind of stuff. But then you've got her like cozying up, for lack of a better term, to the Fiend the last couple of weeks. And it's creepy AF. But again, it's that unsettling, uncomfortable storytelling we've grown accustomed to from the Fiend.
And I love it. I'm going to call it right now. Alexa becomes Sister Abigail.
Because at first in the pre-show meeting, when you said you thought you had an idea what they were going to do with Sonya, I thought for a second that Alexa was a red herring and Sonya was going to become Sister Abigail.
No.
But it's not taking into consideration what's going on in real life.
Right. No, I think the plan has been, since she got involved, she's either going to be Sister Abigail or she's going to develop an infatuation with the Fiend.
Yeah.
I
And I'm
don't
also going to give
just well, Braun attacked me, blah blah blah. No, I think it's going to be one or the other. Either he has the infatuation with her because she's actually Abigail, or she has the infatuation with him, and maybe just because of that takes up the mantle of
right.
Sister.
10 bonus points to the Fiend also for the Get These Hooves t-shirt that the pig was wearing. I saw that and I almost fell out of my chair. I was laughing so hard. You're going to get these hooves.
That was great. Yeah. So let's go ahead and move on to I think the last match that we really want to discuss,
Yes.
and that's the other big championship match. Drew McIntyre defending the WWE Championship against the Viper, the Legend Killer, Randy Orton.
I have no idea how this is going to go. I
Meaning,
really don't.
if I had to flip a coin, they're going to put the title on Orton. I also have something else to say about it. Neither outcome. I mean, whatever the outcome is, I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem
agree.
with the title on Drew. I do not have a problem with them putting the title on Randy Orton right now because of what Randy Orton has been doing since kind of taking back up the mantle of the Legend Killer. I love it. This is
I
my
agree with you
second favorite
because
Orton.
I don't dislike the job McIntyre's been doing. McIntyre's been doing a great job with what he's been given.
Right.
Orton's just on a higher plane, though. And we talked about it briefly last week with him, picking off all of these people the past, month plus, culminating with Ric Flair last week. That's why it wouldn't surprise me at all if they put the title on Orton for a couple of months. But it also wouldn't surprise me if McIntyre vanquishes him because, let's be honest, Orton doesn't need another championship run.
No.
He's already validated, several times over.
Yeah. My thought is, if they're going to put the title on Orton, there is a reason for it. And you think you know the reason.
I do. Because you discussed it briefly last week. You think that a certain rated R superstar is about to make his impending return.
I don't know if it would be his impending return, but if they put the title on Orton, it wouldn't surprise me if they're putting the title on Orton just to keep it warm for Edge.
Until like Survivor Series or something like that.
Whenever he comes back, it could take longer and it could be the Rumble. Who cares? Who knows? It doesn't matter. I think that would be to put a Marvel spin on it, the end game.
Yeah.
Except Edge doesn't go back in time and go back to the 40s and dance with Peggy Carter. Spoiler alert.
So I guess we aren't talking about TakeOver tonight because TakeOver is happening as we are recording. So spoiler free.
One of us is watching it, one of us is not.
And
literally,
one of us is going to watch it, just things all over the.
Very careful about the reflection of my glasses because I noticed earlier that if you're really careful, you can actually see what's exactly. You can see what's happening in my glasses, and I'm like, no.
Yeah.
So
So what we thought we would do tonight, though, because this is NXT Takeover Triple X. Oh yeah, I'm jumping the gun here. I forgot. There's something that you asked for a little time for, and I'm sorry that I forgot that. That's mea culpa.
Yeah, no, and I'll forgive him. We got a problem, and I don't mean Brian. I don't mean me and you. I don't mean the show. I'm talking to you other YouTubers. Because
What do you mean, you YouTubers?
exactly, that's it. So, okay. So, my kids watch a lot of YouTube, especially Squishy. Being 10, she watches a ton of it. The 5-year-old watches a ton of it. That's pretty much their favorite form of entertainment. I watch quite a bit of it too. I like watching some of the wrestling channels, aside from Wrestling with Egos, which is my favorite wrestling channel. I also like watching some gaming channels. I can't believe I'm actually going to use these words in a positive light, but I actually like What Culture Gaming. What Culture Wrestling can take a flying leap, not because I don't enjoy their content, but because I have a friend that they screwed over. Hashtag Josh Eisenberg. Hashtag Chairshot Reality. Hashtag the only show better that was ever better than this one. Anyway, moving right along. So while watching a lot of these YouTube videos, I've noticed that there are a lot of people that are posting stuff that have no idea what in the bloody hell they are doing.
Care to elaborate?
Pardon?
Care to elaborate?
Yes. And I will start elaborating with 3 simple words.
Those 3 words?
Rant mode on. All right. So the problem that I'm having with you Nimrods, and it doesn't apply to all of you, just some of you. And when I start talking about this, you'll know who you are.
Oh, goody.
The people that do not know how to balance audio when they are filming. Like, for example, I watch a lot of YouTube on my smart TV that I'm watching Takeover on right now. And what I really, really hate is when I don't have the remote in my hands. Nothing's going wrong, but all of a sudden, it's really, 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 really quiet. And then it gets really, 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 really loud. But you noticed the volume didn't change much with me. Whereas on a lot of other channels, the loud part will blow your speakers out. Hang on. Let me grab my tablet.
Oh, we got props.
Oh, no. We do not have props. We have a telestrator.
The czar of the telestrator.
Right for Tello in the house, baby. Watch this. 3, 2, 1. Brace yourself. I don't want you to get motion sickness. 3, 2, 1. Trippy, right? Okay, so what you guys are looking at is what you're looking at is my screen when I edit this show in Premiere Pro. Smaller video, all of the timeline stuff down there, all this other stuff. It's pretty awesome. Now, let me grab my AJ stylus. That was phenomenal, by the way. Now watch this. You see this right here that I'm circling? That, ladies and gentlemen, is called an audio meter. And as you watch it as we're talking. You see how the bars are going up and it's stopping at about right there.
Right there.
Right there. But it's not going much higher than that. And if it does, it's not pinging all the way at the very tippy top. And that's what happens with a lot of you fools, is you just let it ping all the way to the top because you don't know how to balance your audio.
Incredibly disappointing.
Seriously, guys, watch a couple of YouTube videos on how to do this shit. It'll help. It'll give you the basics. Guys, I'm learning how to play guitar just by watching videos on YouTube. I'm not paying for lessons. I'm learning by watching YouTube channels. And guess what? The audio sounds perfect. Learn something instead of, bro, we're going to post a video. This is going to be so freaking cool. Watch what happens. And then you post the same EDM, chain smoker sounding music that everybody uses in their band. Guys, there's about 15,000 places to get royalty-free music. Not all of you are as fortunate as us to where we have a recording artist that's a friend that lets us use his stuff. Shout out to our boy Ace 500 and that goat walk that he's been letting us use as our theme. Love you, Ace. Appreciate you.
Man.
Yeah, man. Learn something for the love of God. Stop making crappy videos. Make good quality. Rant mode off.
I feel like I learned something. I don't know about y'all, but
Hang on. 3, 2, 1. Okay.
And we're back from that program interruption. We want to thank the Reverend of the Rant, Patrick, for imparting that knowledge on us. And we're going to spin it forward now. As we said, TakeOver 30 is going on as we speak. And we thought since it is NXT TakeOver 30.
Actually, just ended.
Okay, just ended.
Just ended.
We figured we'd make the meat of our show tonight in the bar talk, if you will, what we think are the 5 most important NXT moments in its history.
We're not
covers a lot of territory.
We're not necessarily talking matches. We're not necessarily talking pay-per-views or anything or shows or anything else. We are talking tiny little moments that
I was hoping you'd say that because I didn't really ask you during the week for clarification. I just started writing things down that I thought were important.
I did.
And really only 2 of them involve matches, and they're more talking about rivalries than matches, because a match, anybody can have a great match.
Don't get me wrong. I have a couple of matches on my list as well, but it's not about greatest matches. It's about the greatest moments. Like I went with these moments defined.
Right. I'd like to start off so I can blow your mind.
Go ahead.
Because I bet you will think, wow, I didn't think he was going to say this.
All right.
One of my most important NXT moments is their insistence on attracting international talent to the brand, to diversify the brand. So you have people like Nakamura and Finn Balor, Hideo Itami, Samoa Joe, Becky Lynch, Walter.
He's an American.
True. And Asuka.
Yeah.
Those people.
Also, don't forget Imperium. Don't forget Cheetah.
Yes. But these talents can only enhance your product. I mean, look at all the great moments Nakamura has given us. Look at all of the great moments Kevin Owens has given us. He's from Canada. I'll put him in there too. Finn Balor, obviously. Hideo Itami had his moments when he was there. He's Kenta now in New Japan. But it's clear that the powers that be at NXT, chief among them Triple H, Shawn, the trainers, they understand that wrestling is not just an American thing.
Nope.
That if we want to grow the brand, we've got to get people from all over the globe under our umbrella and let them ply their trade. And it's delivered some outstanding moments through the years.
That is a good one, and I am very surprised that you went with that, and I like that one. I'm going to get my biggest one out of the way. Because to me, NXT is not what it is without two matches, back-to-back takeovers involving the same two people, Bayley and Sasha. Takeover Brooklyn 1, followed by Takeover Respect in the Iron Woman match. Those two matches, as great as they are, sorry, getting up. We back? We're back.
We're back.
All right. Those two matches showed the world that NXT could be more than just developmental. And
Right.
it was as amazing as those matches are. They're two of my, especially the one in Brooklyn, one of my favorite matches to watch. But, and I will also argue that is the most important match in the history of NXT, is the one in Brooklyn. But to me, that the end of that rivalry was the most important thing. So that's my big one. The biggest one that I've got. What else you got?
It kind of piggybacks off that one, but it's clear that there is a focus on wrestling in all divisions right from the get-go. We are going to have great women's talent. We are going to have great tag team talent. We are going to have great men's talent. We can sit here and rattle off all of the different people and all of those groupings that have blown our minds over the course of 30 takeovers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, well, let's just think about tag teams for a second. American Alpha, DIY, the Revival. Huh?
AOP.
Yeah, AOP.
Even though they completely fizzled out on the main roster, the Ascension.
The Ascension had their moments, yes.
NXT.
And you know who I love watching? Anytime Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch are on, I pay attention. Mustache Mountain.
But by the way, as far as Burch and Lorcan, watch the match from the pre-show, the triple threat with them, Breezango, and Legado del Fantasma.
Yeah, I will be tuning in.
Hey,
and then
I'll just put it this way.
Oh no. And we've talked at length about the great women's talent that's come through there. Natalya was hugely important in the early stages of this. Yes. And then you've got the horsewomen with Becky Lynch, Sasha, Charlotte, and Bayley. And then you spin it forward to what Asuka was able to do, what Shayna Baszler was able to do. Tons of great women coming through there, legitimizing it like it ever needed to be legitimized before, but proving that, hey, we can do more than wrestle for 33 seconds.
Right.
You know, which is why I was a little angry on SmackDown. Was it last week? Mickie James came back against Natalya, and her match just kind of got run over by Seth Rollins and Samoa Joe arguing with each other. I thought that was classless.
I didn't like that either. Anyway, moving along. You know what my next big one is? And I can't believe I'm beating you to this one. The emergence. I won't even say the debut. The emergence, the arrival of the Demon.
I have that down. I phrased it differently, but I have that down.
Here's why. Because NXT has separated itself because they get a little out of the box on big entrances. And it started with Finn Balor and Hideo Itami taking on the Ascension at
TakeOver Rival.
It was TakeOver Rival?
Yes.
Okay. I couldn't
No, it was either Rival or Our Evolution. It was one of those two, but it was back in that time frame.
It was Our Evolution.
Yes. When I wrote it down here, I have
because Rival, the main event was Sammy and Kevin.
Yes.
So Finn was already there.
I wrote it down as Finn Balor multidimensionally developing his character because he didn't just exist as a guy with a skill set.
Yeah.
He's got layers upon layers to his character.
To me, it became more about the entrances because then you were able to set the table for Nakamura, for Bobby Roode, for Sanity, for the different, for Aleister Black, for God's sake. But all of these really theatrical entrances then followed by the live bands because you now have Code Orange and Incendiary doing Aleister Black's entrance at one of the takeovers in Brooklyn. You have Ember Moon having her entrance done by Kane Hill, I think was the band from Takeover New Orleans, being led by Izzy Hale from Storm.
And then the violinist that played Nakamura to the ring.
Lee England Jr. Yeah.
Yes.
There's so many amazing entrances, and none of them would have happened without the arrival of the Demon coming, crawling through the smoke, slowly standing up, arms go out, head kicks back, and then there's that camera angle. Here's an AJ Styles again from right here, and all you just see is this painted up on the Fiend. I keep calling him the Fiend. Jesus, good Lord, Patrick. On the Demon, and he's just going, making those jaws.
Badass.
Oh, that was so freaking cool. So without that, we don't get the rest of the theatricality that we've gotten out of NXT takeovers.
I will lump my two rivalries together because I think these rivalries summed up what NXT is all about. And I think you know where I'm going with these.
If there's one that I have in mind, and if you don't mention it, I'm going to be driving over to your house to punch the snot out of you.
Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa. Calm down.
There you go.
And then Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens, I think, was a very important one too, because both gentlemen proved we can tell a long, simmering story over multiple months and multiple matches, and it won't get stale because we can keep upping the ante, and we can even do it on the main roster in the case of Zayn and Owens to a certain extent. They didn't do it for long, but and there's other rivalries we could throw in there too. But Gargano, Ciampa, Zayn, Owens to me are the two that stick out the most.
Right.
In terms of stories that you get invested in, you want to see how it's going to play out.
All right. Let me give my Gargano and Ciampa is also on my list, but for a different reason. Let me ask you a question, Brian, because I know you've watched a lot of NXT and you started watching a lot of the NXT that you missed before you got on board. By the way, you're welcome.
Thank you, Patrick.
You're unlike Chris Jericho not getting his thank you, I got mine. Moving right along. Before Tommaso Ciampa at Takeover Chicago, right? Yes, Takeover Chicago. Grabbed Johnny Gargano and ran him into the LED board. Before that happened, who in NXT was truly a heel? Like, I'm not talking like, boo. I'm talking, we hate you. Was it Bobby Roode? No.
No, he hadn't come along yet.
No, I think Bobby Roode was already there. But
even Roode never reached that kind of a level, I don't think.
No, listen to me. It wasn't Bobby Roode because everybody was too busy, singing along with Glorious. It was not Samoa Joe because everybody was too busy chanting Joe, 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 Joe. Because
I was.
Yeah, because Joe was awesome. It wasn't Baron Corbin because nobody cared. It wasn't Bo Dallas because Bo Dallas was funny. It wasn't Kevin Owens because Kevin Owens wasn't there long enough. Maybe Eva Marie, but Eva Marie just sucked.
You're right. There really, now that I think about it, there really wasn't a nuclear heel until Ciampa did that.
Exactly. NXT finally, after I think 3 years, 3 or 4 years, finally got the heel.
Right.
And in my opinion,
You
the
need that.
greatest heel run in the history of NXT.
You
Because
need that. Every promotion needs a guy like that where it's just cut and dry. We hate this person.
our boy PJ, my co-worker in the warehouse, he and I were talking about this a few days ago. PJ brought up a very good point. Shout out to you, PJ, on this one. For the first several months, Ciampa's theme music was the boos of the crowd.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I love Ciampa's music. I think No One Will Survive is a really good entrance theme, but they just put his name up on the video board and it was just.
I don't know that anybody's ever done that and pulled it off. Like, I don't need any music. I'm just going to walk out there
Yeah,
and stare at people, and it worked.
yeah. And it was beautiful. To me, I could stop at 3 because to me, those 3 moments made NXT. I'll go ahead and give you my fourth one because it's easy and it's simple. Takeover Arrival. OG Takeover. Because that proved, hey, we got something here.
Yeah.
And my last one is Takeover Brooklyn 1. Because it now went from, hey, we got something here to, holy crap. This thing,
The main roster better be careful.
this, in my opinion, even though it was still treated as such, and for about another year or so, at Takeover Brooklyn 1, NXT stopped being developmental
Right.
and became the third brand.
My other three are not at, well, I'll no, I'll change my mind about that. When you said that at Takeover Rival or Takeover Rival they realized they had something in their hands. One of the big reasons why is the obvious investment that the fans put into it.
Yes.
Those people that came to those early takeovers and dressed up like their people at Full Sail and had their signs and came up with chants out of thin air, you know, like say what we will about these two guys now, but I still go back to Enzo and Big Cass. I mean, those two were as over as anybody has ever been over.
Yes.
I mean, blue pants. Need I say more? I mean, just, you know, all of it. Those fans, it was clear that they believed what they were seeing,
Right.
and what I wouldn't have given to be part of that. I know I've seen a couple shows at the Agora with you, and I've felt it, and I've, participated in chants and even started a chant, which I thought was awesome. Um,
I forgot what chant did we start? Help me out.
it was when
Nikki's gonna
it
kill you.
was no, it was Asuka's. It was no. Oh, you're right. It was Nikki Cross was wrestling
Evans.
Lacey Evans, and it was Lacey had just started out, and I kind of looked over at you, and I just went, Nikki's gonna kill, and about 20 guys around us started doing it too, and then before long the chant was going through the whole place, and I'm like, yes.
Brian and I, because we're packed in there like freaking sardines, man. And Brian and I are just going, like, yep. Mostly
So
Brian, mostly Brian, but that was us. That was
yeah,
us. But
the investment from the fans was there, and the other thing I want to highlight, NXT is really good about not driving stipulation matches into the ground. So that when you have a stipulation match, like, insert name of stipulation here, a ladder match, a war games match, a falls count anywhere, or whatever, it means something. So when William Regal comes out, like he did 3 years ago, and said, all right, there's only one way that we can finish this. The three of you are going to be in a War Games match. And the looks on all of their faces were just like, oh no, oh dear. So
I'm sitting on this couch just going,
yeah, I knew you were hyperventilating. I had to check up on you. Like, you all right? You need some
oh
oxygen
my God. I
flown
was
in?
hyperventilating because, as we've discussed, while RJ might be a ladder match mark, I'm a War Games mark.
Yeah, I'm
I
the Iron Man match mark. He's the ladder match mark. You're the War Games mark.
God, you give me War Games. Give me War Games or give me death. I mean, hell yes.
My last one, you could go either way on this one, but I think what Adam Cole has done with the Undisputed Era is make the faction look cool again. You didn't
Well,
see a lot of factions really.
exactly. That's the only real faction that NXT has ever had. Yes, the
Right.
Shield came from NXT, but
But
they
they
weren't
weren't fully formed yet.
in NXT until the end of Seth Rollins' title run.
Right.
They were, Ambrose and because also Ambrose and originally Leaki, now known as Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins weren't on the same page. Rollins was the inaugural NXT champ. He was on his own, and then Survivor Series that year when they came down to beat the piss out of Ryback, that was the first time they had come together as the Shield.
Right.
And for about another month or so, the Shield would appear on NXT, basically to just help Rollins keep the title until he lost it to Big E.
Right.
Yeah, that's so for me. Just to quickly reiterate, it's Bayley and Sasha's rivalry. It's the emergence of the Fiend. Oh my God, I did it again. The emergence of the Demon, and how cool entrances could be. It was Takeover Brooklyn, Takeover Arrival, and Tommaso Ciampa as the very first and only I truly hate you, I want you to die bad guy.
Right.
Every other heel they've had in NXT has had a cool factor to them, including Adam Cole, baby. Adam Cole, baby. Boom. He's a heel, yes, but he's a cool heel.
Yeah.
Um,
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
nothing wrong with it. Small spoiler: he's not the heel tonight.
No, he is not.
He is not the heel at Takeover, which was weird. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be booing you, but I want you to super kick Pat McAfee's face off.
Is there anything else you would like to share with the class before we get up on out of here?
Um, big shout out, huge shout out to RJ for golfing with egos.
Yes.
Oh my God. That has, remember how I always talk about if I'm ever in a bad mood, I pull up WWE Network and I watch either Bobby Heenan's Hall of Fame induction speech or I watch Edge's induction speech. Add golfing with egos to that list because, oh my God, that was so flippin' funny.
I showed it to the Lovebird the other day, and she got a kick out of a lot of the hijinks that were going on.
Oh God, yes. So many funny moments. And the sad thing is, you saw all of them. You saw all of them, and none of that. I promise you, none of that was scripted. It was just us just being stupid. Um, I honestly thought that I was at some point I thought I was going to annoy the piss out of Brian because I was getting dumber as his game kind of struggled about around the turn, and I'm like, I'm probably going to piss Brian off, and I'm probably going to have his 8-iron wrapped around my head.
Yeah, the jury was out there for a while.
And then he shanked that one and ended up on the green in one, and I drove the cart over. And that's about the time where he was like, "Okay, yeah, we're just gonna have fun with this."
We will definitely be doing it again down the road sometime.
Oh, absolutely. And Brian, real quick, from the bottom of my heart, man, thanks for being a good sport on that, because we did poke at you a little bit, especially with that particular one. RJ, I had no say in the fact that RJ decided to point the arrow at your ball when we were all over here and you were way back here. I had nothing to do with that one. Blame RJ, not me. I'm innocent for a change. But that
No, he job well done on him for being the brains of the operation on that, and it's gotten a lot of great run from everybody that's seen it so far.
I've gotten a lot of feedback from the people at work, from a lot of our friends who are like, "Oh my God, that looked like that was just fun." Like, yeah. And you know what? The one thing I'm getting the biggest compliment on, Logan.
Yeah.
And it's not the fact that Logan, well-spoken young man, intelligent young man, little camera shy, but whatever. He's not a seasoned vet like us gorgeous, glorious sons of guns are. Or as Doc Hendricks would go. I'm sorry. I always loved that. When Michael Hayes' Doc Hendricks would just go. I love that. But when RJ was talking about his ball being here and Logan's ball being here, and I mentioned, so what you're saying is your son has better balls than you? Go back and watch it and then listen to Logan right afterwards.
Cackling.
I mean, dead.
Doubled over in the golf cart.
Yes, I thought he was going to fall out, which would have been par for the course for RJ because,
Bad things happen to his children on golf courses.
I'd probably be getting bitch slapped for that. Sorry, RJ. Love you, buddy. But yeah, if you haven't watched Golfing with Egos yet, I'm going to be putting the link up on the thanks for watching screen at the end. You're going to want
to do that.
Huh? Say what?
Yeah, you do that. You're going to want to head on over and check it out.
Oh yeah, you're definitely going to want to watch that. I'm not. Yeah. That's going to be what you're going to want to watch. Trust me. Watch this. Watch SummerSlam. Watch Takeover. And when that's all done, because you might be pissed off about some things, you might need to laugh. Watch Golfing with Egos. Here's one more spoiler for NXT Takeover 30. Your new NXT champion, Brock Lesnar.
All right. See you next time on Wrestling with Egos when we write Patrick off the show for being a tool.
Next week when RJ goes, Brian, where's Patrick?
Sleeping with the fishes.
Haven't seen him. And then they pan over this way and there's a bloody putter.
He shot his mouth off one too many times. And
me?
You.
Me? Real quick, as we're getting out of here, you guys have already seen the socials. You guys have seen the socials, contact info, all that stuff. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, hammer the bell. That way you get notifications when we post stuff. Leave comments below. We'd love to hear your feedback. Email us, tweet us. Yes, I'm actually back on Twitter now. So I'm actually paying attention. My Twitter hiatus is over. Finally, big shout out again to Ace 500, our boy, for the use of Goat Walk, which is a song which is a song you've heard at the beginning and the end of the show.
Coming in clutch.
I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm not using royalty-free music anymore. Ace lets us use it. I'm gonna use it. He ain't gonna care. It's like, hey, you play my stuff twice. Yeah, man. Obviously, he sounds a hell of a lot cooler than I do, but whatever. Thanks for letting me sing tonight, guys. I really appreciate it. I will be auditioning for American Idol next week. I thought it was fun. But again, shout out to Ace for the use of the music. Check out his SoundCloud. If you check him out on, I know for a fact He's on a lot of streaming platforms. Check him out on Google. Check him out on Spotify. Check him out on iTunes Music. Trust me, I did. I got all of this stuff on iTunes Music, and it's great.
Put that work in.
Oh yeah, putting that work in. You know, as he likes to say, keep pushing. But for RJ, for the disembodied voice of RJ, for Brian, I'm Patrick. This has been Wrestling with Egos, and until next week, that's our story, and we're sticking to it.